G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So today what we're going to do is have a look at something I want to start to play with. I was lucky enough to get some nice seedling stock or nice stock from Neil Padbury Shibu Bonsai in Yakandaka down here in Victoria, or the border of Victoria and New South Wales. Neil grows some fantastic stock, and these couple, I got a few more down here, but I'll show you in a minute, are Japanese Quince or Chojubai. Hopefully I said that correctly. And I've always been keen to try and start some of these guys, but I haven't. So I picked these up, I think the last show, which probably about 6 to 8 months ago, and I haven't really done anything. I just let them grow because I have actually no experience with this species. But I've seen some footage. I've seen some trees in Japan or online in Japan. The Chojubai mainly, you see them grow in small kind of clump style kind of looking trees, and yeah, it's very they're very cute, but they're very ramified, lots of ramification, and they're grown as a clump mainly, and they have looks like they have lots of suckers or lots of trunks that come out of one, so more like a clump. So I've got a couple of examples here where I might have to come in and show you, but Neil did tell me these guys sucker quite a bit. So that what it means is they grow little suckers or little branches really low down or in from the roots, and they grow up new little new trunks or branches. So in this case, this example is showing you, this one to show you it's got like multiple trunks and multiple suckers that are possibly we could use to create a clump style, but at the moment this is just a very tall, I've just very left it growing. So what are we going to do? I really have no idea. But I think I want to treat it as more small show-in kind of size trees regardless what we do, but it's starting to get very tall, and this doesn't, yeah, it just looks like a seedling now. It doesn't look like a tree at all. And what are we going to do? We're going to leave these suckers. How are we going to position them? Are we going to keep all these branches? So that's the thought. Then I've got, a slightly different one. There's a nice little maple seedling growing there. Thanks, Neil. But this one doesn't have the suckering. So, why not I start to play around with reducing this and making it a smaller tree? Like I can easily see there's a nice little small. If I can bend these, they're quite flexible. I found they're not that very flexible just with my hand. So what I'm thinking, maybe I can do a small mini, very small cute little semi-cascade or something like that with this guy. Should be really cute, and if it flowers will look really good. But again, it's getting way too long and leggy. Should start to work on them now. I have a few others that are similar. This one's actually same kind of situation, but notice how some of the tips are, all the foliage is now at the tips. It's just that because I've let it grow, all the inner stuff is not growing, so I've got to really push back the growth. This, I'm not sure what we can do with that. It's very straight, but let's see if we can. It's very flexible, so I'm hoping I can get some wire on them and see if they respond to wiring, which I'm sure they will. And I want to really get them smaller, much smaller, interesting trees. So that's the plan today. So that's the third one. I have another nice little kind of clump one here as well. So it's got a bit more advanced trunks. It's got maybe, all up, it's got 4 different size trunks, I guess, which is good. But do we want to keep them all? Do we want to just have the main one? Do we want to just have 3? I don't know. I haven't really worked out what I want to do, as I said. But regardless, I have to reduce these. That's what I think I'll do today mainly, is reducing the size of these trees. And wiring them up. I think that's probably the ultimate goal. So that's number 4, and I've got one more, and a 5th one here, which is another single trunk. Which it's one thing that these guys is the thorns are. There's thorns all over them. So I'm assuming the thorns are there where the flowers come out of, I think, but I'm still working on that. Still trying to understand these trees. So here we go. This is another nice little single trunk one. Actually, no suckering, which is good. But yeah, it's got some movement. Let's just keep enhancing that movement. See if I can twist it and make it smaller. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut off a lot of this growth. I'll try and do cuttings from them. You never know, might work. cuttings in summer, probably not likely, but you never know. It is what it is. But they're very cool, very cute. I just want to give them a chance to grow in this season. I'm not worried about flowering and anything like that just yet. It's still growing, these little guys. But there's 5 nice little pieces of stock, really good little stock. These are quite advanced in age because Chojubai do go very slowly, according to Neil. So these are quite advanced for their age. But I like them. I think if I get them nice and small and contorted, I think they'll make fantastic little trees or little minis that will flower, and that's what I'm aiming for. Have flowering trees of these guys. So I'm not sure how the cuttings will go, but we'll give it a go. But yeah, 5 possible great little trees. So let's get stuck into them and see what we can produce. Alright, so I thought I'd start with one of the single ones. As I said, it's very flexible. So I think what we'll do is we'll wire it and then we'll cut off back to shape. So I might want to leave some of these side ones and so on. So I want to put a decent sized wire on it. Aluminium. Yeah, so let's get cracking. So I might wire this trunk and then I might wire that separately. I want to see if I can I don't know if I can get movement into that base. No, probably not. Maybe I can wire those 2 instead. Maybe I'll just wire these 2 together. Alright, let's try this out. It should be pretty easy. Just watch the thorns, I guess. Just gotta remind myself. Just the thorns. Yeah. Jeez. As I mentioned in a previous video, when you got small trees trying to wire heavy, they will just move everywhere, like what they're doing right now. I might have to come in closer and put this in my lap. So, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see, but hopefully. I'll just finish this wiring off. And then I'll come back. So anyway, I'll just show you this one, and then I'll wire all the others out off camera, and then we'll do some bending. How's that? I think that's a better idea. I copped another cold, so that's why I'm a bit nasally today, which is really annoying because last year 2019 didn't really get sick at all from colds or anything like that, but so far 2020 2 colds, not good. So what I'll do is I'll start to wire. So you can see I've just put some nice heavy gauge wire. I'll wire some of these side ones as well, see if we can put them into position, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like, and we'll twist it up and see what we can come up with. I'll do the twisting and bending whilst on camera so you can see how difficult it might be, or not difficult, or easy, or whatever. Okay, so give me a sec. Alright, so I've wired it up. All fully wired. He's moving in the pot a bit, but I think that's just how it is. Let's try and bend the main trunk first. Yeah, it's easily moving. I just want to make sure. Just do it slowly, no cracking. Try and put some movement in. Doing pretty well, pretty easy. Bending pretty easily. Look. Now I didn't wire all the way out to the tips because that's never going to be that big of a tree. It's going to be a small tree. So I just have to imagine the angle it would be on, something like that. It'd be in a cascade kind of pot, and then we'd get to work on it. So way too long, way too long. It's got a nice secondary branch in there, so possibly something like that. Probably wire it, bend it a bit more, twist it down a bit more. Now we'll get this guy. What I want to do is try and get him to sit in this spot here, try and get him to sit. So the way I do that is I try and go, because it was a bit too forward, so this was actually quite forward. Now I can't just bend it straight in here, it won't fit. But if I go backwards first, if I go back slightly, which it's bending quite easily, you can see that, and then I try and come around, and then I try and bend all this around. Cool, it's working pretty well. Keep going back with that one. Now we're only really setting the structure of what this tree will be. So now I've got the first main one, then I've got a small one here, and then I'll try and create some sort of apex up here. Again, that's probably way too long, but probably put an apex in it. Now I'm trying to do a different level. So this one is obviously lower level, but it's more maybe to the front. This one's towards the back and at the side, and this one will come back over towards the front, the apex. So if you just, let me have a quick look. Yeah, so this one on the inside will be gone. Now, if we let these go, we'll just get longer and longer. So we need to start to get back budding. So we've got to start trimming some of these back, yeah? So we're starting off something in this kind of shape. I'll just get rid of that maple later, but I like it. I don't want to lose a tree. So maybe something like that for this guy. I'd like to reduce these even more, actually. I find it too long. I think all of them need to be come back. So I'm going to make a small tree, you know, a small little tree. So how's that look? Something along like that, along these lines. Probably need a bit more in the back, so I'll probably put that in the back and get that to come in the front. There's one nice branch here growing. We'll let that grow and fill in the back in this spot here. But how's that look, guys? I don't know. Hard to tell. Needs a bit more tweaking, but yeah, that's better. Something like that. Anyway, I'll keep looking at this and keep tweaking it, but that's pretty much just taking something that was kind of interesting, like very small, skinny, bending it up, twisting it up, wiring it up, and starting the formation of a nice little mini Chojubai, yeah, Japanese quince. Should flower, you know, in time, and that's what you're probably getting it for. They're flowering. So, all right, that's one done. Now let's get stuck on some of the others and see what designs we can come up with. I think that would be a cool little tree. Probably have to shrink it a bit more. I think. Probably have to bring it down a bit more. Yeah. Yeah. I'll keep tweaking at it, getting it right, but maybe an angle like that. Yeah. Okay. I'll try. I'll just wire some of the other ones up, and I'll come back and show you. I was just wiring this one, and I wanted to show you something quickly. So I wired the trunk, but then I've got in this spot here, I've got two branches coming from the one spot. So it's 1, 2, pretty much, and the trunk 3. That's too many. 3. we need to cut back to one of those. So whatever happens, we're going to cut back to one, but without bending it and twisting it, I could see that this branch here is very heavy, almost the same thickness as the trunk, and this is a slightly skinny one. So I tend to take off the thick one and leave the slightly thinner one. It's better dimensions, and the branch shouldn't be as thick as the trunk, you know what I mean, that kind of stuff. So it looks a lot better. So I'm just going to get rid of that straight away, straight off, and I'll clean this wound up a little bit and I'll seal it. So that, at least now I just need to wire the other branches. I just got rid of the one I wasn't going to keep, and I'll just continue wiring this tree. One little trick I forgot to tell you guys is when you're doing this kind of wiring, it's sometimes easy if you've got a roll to put it inside your hand, loop it in your hand, and then you can actually just wire with it. Rather than, I know we get taught to cut off the piece and then so on and so forth, but because I'm on my own, it's a bit hard to do one piece, and it's such a small little thing. This helps me keep the wire out of the way and helps me wire the tree much easier. It's just if you're on your own and you're doing it with small trees, it's easier to do that kind of wiring. So it's a pretty cool little thing. Let me try and show you. If I do these two, probably need this gauge. Let's have a look, see if it works. So thread it in. Actually, I probably can use this slightly. No, we'll go slightly heavy. So you keep it in your arm. Work out what you need. I don't want to cross the wire, so I'm going to go this way. So this is the easy part on this side, but when you want to do this side, where the thing is, it's like you're controlling the tree. You can use this hand, and you don't need to worry about. Oh, those thorns are killer. Oh, and you don't need to worry about the wire. So it stays in your arm, and you just go around and around and around and around. So it's just a easy trick, I guess. You don't normally do this when you're wiring, big and better trees. You don't do that. You just cut off the wire, how much you need, and you can go get away with it. But in this case, it's easier. Oh, these thorns. So I'm pretty sure I'm not going to keep such a long branch, so I'm going to cut it off there. But anyway, I thought I'd show you that little trick, I guess. It just helps you. It makes it easier. So I'll be back soon. Alright, so I wired this guy up. You can see it's pretty much all white. I just didn't wire up this bit because I'm just not going to have such a long branch. It's all going to be cut back anyway. But what I was liking is I wanted to probably do this more of a kind of more informal upright kind of thing, but I want to try and bend and twist it to be smaller. So let's work on this trunk. So it is quite, look, you see how quite flexible that is. That bent right around, but I want to try and get it, see if I can get it right around and make it smaller. So it's moving quite well, just checking, no cracking, no nothing, so it's pretty good. Now what's happened is probably this branch is becoming an inside branch, so maybe we got to now go a different way. Let's see if we can go a different way. These thorns are a real pain. They're just, those little thorns, they can catch and break, so you got to be careful. As long as they don't break in my skin. It's looking nice and tighter. I'm going to try and get even more, but what I want to try and do, get it going that way now. Looks pretty good. Let's see if we can get some of this apex down. Now I'm just really focused on the trunk. I'm not really focused on all these side branches. We can try and deal with those later. So we've got that coming back. So I've kind of put in a nice curve in there. So curves this way, trying to bend, I wanted to try and keep this branch, but I'm not sure that's going to work. So if this is more upright, you can see if it's more upright, squeeze that down. I'm thinking this branch now is too low, and we can always do this branch in that position maybe. Sometimes you wire branches and then you realise, oh, don't need that. There's probably a lot of these I'm not going to need, but I think this is a better branch to keep. So, more importantly is this nice curve that we've got now in the tree. Looks good. We can always keep this back one here. Now I am styling it more of a cookie cutter or standard, but I just want to try and get at least some movement in this tree, because before it was very straight. I'm just trying to see what we can do in terms of movement, but I think I like that. That's too low now, even if I change the angle. So what I might have to do, let's just work on this. Again, that's too long, but just want to get some movement in here. Let's get some movement going. Nice short. Maybe you have to make that nice and short. Let's get rid of that. Too long. Too long. Too long. Let's shorten these branches up. Maybe more interest. Probably use that as a new apex. Or do we use that? No, we'll just bend that down into there. Let's try and put some movement. Yeah, I just think this one, unfortunately, what I'll do, because I've anchored this branch to this, I need to just leave some of this, unfortunately. So I can't take it all off. Otherwise I'll lose my anchor point. I'll fix that up. That's still too long, but I think eventually we might actually cut it back even to that. So I just want to kind of show you the process. Sometimes you wire the whole tree and then you cut stuff off, which is fine, especially if you're not sure. So at least we've got a first branch. That's too long, I'll cut that off. The wire. I think that needs to be in there. Yeah, I'm going to move that to here. Yeah, it's coming along. It's a little bit typical cookie cutter, but I just wanted to get some sort of shape in there. So that's a little trident maple grow seed growing in there. Let's do something like this. So it's coming together. I don't like this horizontal bit, so maybe I have to twist that up there, put that going in there. Yeah, I'm not going to get much movement in this because it's going to be too tall. You could start twisting and creating a new top, but I think the height of the tree should finish up around here. no more. So, something like that. Wish I could take that off, but I can't for now. Probably have to change the angle a little bit on these guys. Maybe that guy goes lower, that goes a little higher. So, I think maybe we go back and forward. Anyway, so that's probably the furthest start of that tree. Let's see how that develops. I still like my other one more. Still like this guy. I think this guy's better, more interesting. But you know, well, these are much better now than before. So those two are done. Let's start. What's the next one we do? Let's do this one. I think this one's going to be pretty straightforward. Probably just informal upright again. No, maybe we can. I'm going to see if I can twist this one into a smaller tree, and maybe just use these branches. Possibly cut these ones off and just use those, because the taper's much nicer. Plus, maybe I can make a small tree, or like a little arty kind of looking tree with that. So let's do that. I think these are too heavy to keep if we're going to keep them. You can see that and that the same thickness almost as this kind of trunk. So probably ideal to get those off. Let me just wire the trunk and see if I can create some interest in it before I cut these guys off. Because yeah, if I wanted to use them, they're kind of in this direction. I'll have to create like an informal or something like that. Not the best looking. Won't be the best looking. I mean, I could go off that, go up here, and go off this, but it's a bit tall. But that's a nice. This has got nice finer foliage there. Let me wire it, and I'll see what we can come up with as well. Alright, so this one's wired up, or this part is wired up. I'm definitely not going to use these two, so I'm going to be cutting them straight off. So hopefully I'll get some nice. They'll take as cuttings, you never know. But I'm going to make smaller cuttings out of these two. Take a few smaller ones and see what happens. I do want to clean those wounds up, but I'll do that after this. But now I've got a much simpler, easier tree to deal with, and probably more interesting. So I'll see what I can come up with and create. I'm trying to get it bent and curved around. See if I can create something smaller. Yeah, let's see. So it's been brought right around, but I just want to see, do I create a tree maybe like that? And yeah, I don't think I can use this in that position. What am I going to do with that? Could be a nice little, small little, like mini cascade again that we just had in the other one. Probably this one could be even a better one. So that's a nice branch in there. Wire that, wire that. Sorry, I talk to myself trying to design a tree. So sometimes it's on the fly. You don't know exactly what you're going to do until you start doing it. So that's what sometimes happens. Maybe I can go that in here. That can be in there. That can be in there. Maybe get some movement into this big one. Jeez, these thorns. Oh, I never knew it had such nasty thorns. That looks nice, but I think we can always use nice apex as well on top. So some apex we can play around with here. We have to create something out of that eventually. But it's getting to go back and fill in some gaps, and then get to go forward. A bit more interest.
So a lot of this will grow out and then you'll get new branches, but maybe something like that. It's probably way too long, so let me cut back what I'm thinking. Something like that. Hope you guys can see that. Something like that. Looks cute, interesting, you know. That's a start anyway. That's a nice little tree. I like that. So we've got one going to the left, this one's going to the right, and the other one's kind of an informal upright, kind of straight. So there's 3 done. Let's move on. Let's see which one's next. I think I now got the clumps. So this is a bit more interesting. So what I'm going to do with these and how I'm going to style it. So I'm pretty much going to style as a clump style, I think. But some of these branches are a bit too long. It's more just cutting back. Which ones am I going to wire into position? Maybe where's a front, roughly front that I can pick. You know, so some of these I have to spread out more. Yeah. So the thickest maybe should be the tallest, things like that. Just got to work those out. Yeah. So let me do that now. Actually, I probably like something in here. I don't know if you can see. There's a little guy here on this side. There's a very small one here. We're gonna put at the back. But then we've got these 2. This one and this one are kind of joined, and then this one's a root. What do you call it? Those shoots, those offshoots that grow at the bottom. So that's maybe we can go that side. So I think you can see all 5 if you keep it as a clump, and it might look nice. These 2 little ones have to develop. This develop in the back one and this here. But let's pick out some of these and probably just wire some of these out to create a bit more of a fuller apex. Probably reduce that back to this one. Height wise, he'll be the tallest, and then reduce everything accordingly, I think. Something like that. So yeah, I'll just put some big wire where I'm going to put it. So, and then yeah, I'll just put some wire on wire, and then I'll come back and trim off what I'm thinking is going to happen. Okay. Okay, so I wired the main trunks. I didn't wire the little guys, some of these little branches, but we'll see what happens with that. So they're ultimately just going to grow, and I'll let them grow and make more trunks with them. But let's start with the main one. I just want to kind of straighten him up, just straighten that one up a little bit. It was falling over too much. I want to try and get that one out there a bit more and bring that one in. So I'm just going to maybe position a few. So I don't want them all in one line. I want to try and get one going forward, one going backwards. So I might want him to, this one go forwards a bit more. So try and put some interest in there. Won't be too crazy in terms of movement. I don't want too nuts in movement. Let me get him to go back a little bit. It's probably too long. So now you can see this one's forward, that one's in the back, and this one probably fits somewhere in the middle, just in the middle. So we need some more branching, obviously, to happen, because you can, I'll show you in a minute. So that's not too bad, but I haven't cut anything off. But I just want to show you the trunks. Now, you can see that that one's in the slightly in the back. You can just see that this one, you see this one in the middle, back in the middle, and this one slightly to the front. But what we're going to do is kind of start removing things that we're not going to keep. This is probably the biggest trunk, so I want to try and keep that the tallest. This will be the new apex kind of thing. These are all a bit too long. Just that. So now these two, probably going to kind of going off about there, because it's in the back, and this one's slightly taller, something like that. So yeah, I'll probably have to wire this eventually, make some sort of other trunk, but you know, we want this one to actually start developing some branches. They're all starting to develop some branching, and these two little ones to grow a bit more. And then we've got a nice little clump happening then. So that's all I'm going to do for that. Hopefully that kind of looks okay to you guys. Remember, don't have the trunks in one line. Have them at slightly forward, slightly back, slightly more in the middle. I want that one there, so maybe it will frame that bigger tree. Yeah, and the little one, you probably want to see it there in the back as well. So the two smaller trees on the main trunk side, and then these two trees slightly on the right side. That's the thinking. Hope that looks okay to you guys. Looks alright. I think I've got issues with this trunk, but because it's coming back in, I want to maybe I'll try and build it this way. No, I'll just leave it for now. I'm not a huge fan of what it's doing like that, but it is what it is for now. I might have to change its angle and so on. But there you go. That's the fourth one done. And now a fifth one here. So I think this is the first tree I showed you guys. So I'm not sure how this goes. How we'll go with this. Do we leave it as a clump, or do I change it up and make something else? So maybe. The problem with this is for a clump style, it's got some really small ones, and then it's got two big trunks in here. Can we use them somehow? Do I just create a mini out of this because it's got a nice big base? Possibly cut those ones off and just use the small one at the back and create a tree. That's another option. There's always options to think about. So let me study this tree. Not too sure what I want to do now with it, because I've got one clump and I like that, and this one it's more of a, do I just have a little mini instead, really small tree with a nice base? So I'll have to think about that one. Let me come back and I'll show you what I've done. Alright, so what I ended up deciding to do is I've only wired this branch over here. Now I'll try and come in and close up. Now this has actually really got a really nice, let me just check you guys can see that. Yeah, you can. Okay, so in here's got some nice big heavy roots on this side of the tree. Then it's got this ugly like bow look in this trunk, and that was my problem. So I've decided to follow this. I've left this little middle bit here as a, maybe we'll change the design in the future, but I'm going to create a cascade out of this branch. So that's the plan, and it might work. So should work quite nicely. Let's get lots of nice movement. This side. I haven't wired the small ones in here because they're too small, but I think in the future there's going to be so much branching that I won't have to worry about anything or that many. So kind of giving you an idea, it's going to be nice, twisted down, probably going to be bent down a bit more. It's hard to leave that anywhere in an area. Just leave that down somewhere. I've left this because we could actually use this as the apex of the tree, so I've just left that one. I want to get it stronger. I don't want to wire it just yet. Or we could just take everything off and leave this and create a nice little mini fat little tree eventually, which is possible as well. Let's try the cascade on this one. Let me just reduce a few things because I want to try and get it bud back. Okay, yeah, I'm going to take you off. Straight off. That's another candidate for cutting. So you can see, I think that's not too bad. Something simple, something interesting, a bit of movement. I left that on for possible another tree another type of tree, or we could use create a little apex for it. So you can see that little apex. So there you go. One. Let's bring it back. So that's the Cascade. That's a little clump. Start of a clump. Start of a Cascade. We've got a star, an informal upright. Probably not the happiest with this one, but it is what it is for now. We've got the first one I did, which was that nice little, like to the left, semi-cascade. Probably my favourite one that came out was probably this one. So nice little minis, the start of nice little minis with Chojubai, the Japanese Flowering Quince. So I hope it flowers one day, and they start to really grow and move into their shapes and work into their shapes now. I'm sure these will change, even in 6 months' time. Could be a totally different tree as well. So always looking for opportunities to change trees up and look for different things. So there you guys have it. Some nice little minis that we just created from what looks like really overgrown, young starter material. Great for beginners. Great to learn some of the basics of just doing that, wiring things, positioning things. Don't be afraid to cut stuff off as well. You got to sometimes cut things off. It is what it is. That's what we do. So yeah, I don't know. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I thought it was quite fun to do. It's always fun creating for me. I don't get a chance to create much. It's more maintenance these days, but creating is really fun and exciting and gives you a new challenge. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. Stay tuned for more videos if you can. See you guys later.